Hello and welcome back to Karen's Colours. I'm Dr. Karen and these are my colour conversations. This week I thought we'd go for another one of those colour analyses of a movie. And the movie I've chosen for this particular session is Mad Max. No, not the one that's going right now, the original. The 1979 version of the film's franchise that started it all off. Before I begin, though, I'd like to thank all those people who've taken the time to watch my videos. I hope you've been enjoying them. If you have, give them a like. Maybe then YouTube might take notice and start pushing them out. Otherwise, if you really like them, subscribe and hit that notification bell, and it will let you know whenever I upload a new video. As always, I'd like to begin this session with a synopsis of the film's plot. So, spoiler alert, if you haven't seen it, by the time I'm finished, you'll know enough about it, perhaps to even want to watch it all the way through. It was quite a film in its day. Let's get started then, shall we? So this is a colour analysis of the original 1979 film Mad Max. The film opens with a scene of a man driving with his girlfriend erratically down a road. The man is Knight Rider, and while he is driving down the road and having a wonderful time, he's also about to be pursued by a group of police. Max himself is only seen as parts of his body doing things around his own vehicle until about 8 minutes in. And that's when we finally see him for the first time face on. Max's partner Goose joins in the chase before he does, though, and the chase continues through a town where there are a number of red signs, such as a stop sign, a man in the street, a runaway toddler, and a red phone booth, all of which I'll be discussing later on. There's also an issue with the pursuit. It starts to go wrong. There's a yellow pursuit car that crashes, Goose falls off his bike, and there's a yellow striped caravan that's involved in both of those crashes. Max's interceptor vehicle joins the pursuit at this stage. He's still not seen face on, but the Knight Rider does notice him and is intimidated. So Max pushes the pursuit, the Knight Rider is eventually killed, and Max is seen at last. The next scene takes us to Max's home life, where we meet his wife Jessie, his child Sprog, and we can see how relaxed he is after having had a shower and wiping off the dust of the day. He's seen in a yellow towel and then later on in a blue t-shirt. Max and Goose resume patrol. Goose now is riding in with a broken leg and of course is taken off his bike and put into a car with Max. Max is gifted a new interceptor, and the chief warns him that because of the death of the Knight Rider, that the toe cutters gang is now likely to target him. On the other hand, the accountant for the police is also warning the chief that he's spending far too much money on supporting people like Max. Then we revert to the toe cutters gang as it rides into town. There's a couple in a red and orange coloured car asleep. The bikers come into the town and the townspeople are instantly alerted to the potential danger. The toe cutter is there to collect the Knight Rider's body from the station, and he intimidates the railway porter in the process. The coffin is waiting on the platform. The young couple in their car leave town in a hurry. They're pursued and caught. The car is wrecked, and there are some terrible things that happen to the couple that we don't actually see. Max and Goose encounter the scene. They find the traumatized couple and also one of the gang members who is quite out of it due to an intake of illicit substances, and he is known as Johnny the Boy. The toe cutter sends Bubba off to retrieve Johnny the Boy because he has been arrested and taken into town. Bubba gets some information about where Johnny the Boy is kept, and then we find out that the actual trial was a total failure in court because nobody turned up to be witnesses, and so Johnny the Boy is freed. Goose gets very upset about this and has to be restrained. And at the same time, once Johnny the boy has come back into the fold, Toe Cutter himself admonishes Johnny for his stupidity. Johnny is then sent out to sabotage Goose's bike and follows him to watch the carnage as Goose crashes. Goose borrows a passing red truck, loads his bike onto it, and heads back towards town. Johnny throws a rock at him and Goose crashes the truck, is caught inside, and eventually the truck is set on fire with Goose still in it. Max then finds this out and is in shock as he visits the hospital, is horrified at what he sees because Goose is now burnt beyond recognition. Max offers his resignation, but the police chief won't accept it and puts him on leave instead. Max and his family then go on a road trip. On the way, they require a tyre repair and stop at a mechanic's to discuss the terms of that repair. While that's going on, Jessie and Sprog head further into town for an ice cream, where the Toe Cutters gang is in the same area, and the Toe Cutter himself accosts Jessie, and Jessie fights back. Jessie races off to collect Max and the Toe Cutters gang following. When Jessie finally stops, she finds that one of the gang members' hands is dangling from a chain at the back of their car. Max is working on his car at May's farm. Sprog is playing on a blanket and May is reading near Sprog, keeping an eye on him. Jessie wanders off for a swim, and she's sunbaking on a yellow towel for a while and then finds out that the gang has tracked them. Jessie gets panicked on the way back, but we're not sure by whom. When she finally gets back to the farm, May admonishes one of the local lads who is intellectually disabled, and she is told about the intruders. Max starts to chase them down while May takes Jessie indoors. Then suddenly, Jessie remembers Sprog still out in the yard, unattended. There is a confrontation with the gang that happens next, because they now have Sprog. A red member of the gang wants his hand back, and the threat is made that Sprog's hand would be a good substitute. May threatens the gang and locks them in a shed. Max hears the shot and returns rapidly, but by this time, Jessie, May and Sprog have already driven away. The gang escapes the shed and start to give chase. The damaged car that Max had been working on earlier overheats, and Jessie and Sprog start running down the road away from it. May attempts to halt the approaching gang by shooting at them, but the gang go around her, run over Jessie and Sprog, injuring Jessie and killing Sprog. This is where Max now plots his revenge. Max overhears Jessie's prognosis. He goes home, unpacks his uniform, extracts some information from the mechanic who had actually led the Toe Cutters gang to Jessie, tracks down the gang, and they are busy stealing fuel from a passing tanker. He drives some of the thieves off the bridge and runs another one down. Johnny manages to escape and calls the Toe Cutter for help. The pursuit then continues, but Max is delayed by a tractor that's been driven along the road. Eventually, he gets past it and comes upon a crash site that appears to be Johnny the boy's bike in a paddock. He stops there, and unfortunately, it's an ambush. He is shot by the Toe Cutter, and the Toe Cutter threatens to kill him but drives off instead. Max crawls to his car, resumes the chase and catches up to the Toe Cutter, and eventually the Toe Cutter is killed by crashing into an oncoming truck. Then he finds Johnny stealing some boots off another crash victim who is lying dead beside his car. Max handcuffs Johnny to the car, sets up a potential fire, and offers him a hacksaw with which he can escape by cutting off his own foot. Then he drives away as the explosion occurs, and there is a final haunted look in his eyes as the film ends. So there we have the synopsis of the film. Let's now examine the colour images that occur to give them an analysis. Now, of all the original trilogy of Mad Max films, this first one is the one with the most amount of colour in it. Of those colours, yellow is the one that predominates. Red and blue are also fairly prominent, and brown, grey and white have a certain degree of significance as well. Green, pink and orange are fairly limited, whereas purple only appears once. And then finally, we're going to look at black, which is the most important of the colours because it not only establishes the genre of the film, but also sets the theme of a post-apocalyptic world. So let's have a look at them in order of importance. The first colour is yellow. And we see it initially as a road fatality sign that appears right at the beginning of the film. Then it appears again in the pursuit cars, which also have red and black on them. The stripes of the caravan. Max's towel when Jesse is pleading for him to stop the type of work that he has been doing. Then we have the yellow truck that carries the night rider's coffin. And the mechanic's office is also painted yellow. There's a yellow bucket that is visible as Jesse goes for a swim, and Jesse's beach towel is a bright yellow as well. Toe cutter's bike is yellow, and there is also a phone box that is used by Johnny to contact the toe cutter after the thieves of the petrol tanker have all been killed. And finally, there is the yellow tractor that blocks Max's progress in the chase. What have all of these things got in common? The yellow always appears as a warning or an alarm just prior to some sort of action. So whether it's the road fatality sign, which is indicating that a fatality is likely to occur, or whether it's the tractor that's holding up Max's progress, which allows enough time for the chase to be delayed so that the toe cutter can put an ambush in place. All of the yellows have the same things in common. They are a warning or they are an alarm. The next most common colour that appears is red. It is a very common colour and it's the first of the hues that occurs in the basic colour terms of all languages. So it's not surprising that it tends to indicate impending danger that is likely to affect people adversely immediately. The townspeople have a lot of red, whether it be the first town or the second one, and all of them have some sort of adverse reaction as part of the toe cutters gang's intervention in their everyday lives. There is also a red-dressed toddler who escapes from his pram, which precipitates the ultimate ending of the chase by the initial two police people and also results in Goose's initial crash. In the environment, there are also signs of red. There is the sign above the restaurant, a telephone booth that eventually falls over as part of the crash, and there is a red petrol pump, all of which indicate that there is something dangerous about to happen. The couple who are hiding behind the petrol station have got a red and orange coloured car, and they are seen racing down the road, and in the back window is a red Coke can, indicating that the toe cutters gang have not only closed in, but are rapidly about to commit some sort of atrocities. After Goose crashes his own bike, he borrows a red van, loads his bike onto it and heads for town. But his progress is sabotaged by Johnny the boy and he crashes. The intellectually deficient man who scares Jesse at May's farm is also wearing red, although he is not the actual danger. He's just a harbinger of what danger is likely to occur. Then, of course, there is the handless man whose jacket is red, and the helmet of the gang member that Max mows down. Finally, the truck that kills the toe cutter has a red bumper bar. All of these show that red indicates danger is imminent, it's impending, and it happens very shortly after the appearance of those red signals. The next most prolific colour is blue. And here we see blue as the T-shirt worn by the yet-to-be-seen Max right at the beginning of the film. Later on, after the crash of the Knight Rider, we see him for the first time against a blue sky, indicating that he has been shocked by the violence of the crash. The police chief's T-shirt then indicates these blue shirts are part of the police uniform. When the gang members enter town, a man in a blue face mask is asked to go and find information. Max's eyes, when he views Goose's destroyed body, are not only indicators of his shock, but also are seen in close-up to be a bright blue. May also wears blue as she is reading and keeping an eye on Sprog while Jessie goes for her swim. The nurse receiving instructions from the doctor about what to tell Max regarding Jessie's prognosis that Max is overhearing, and it's not good. When Max returns, and the mechanic is also wearing blue. And finally, Max finds Johnny the boy removing the boots from an injured man is wearing blue jeans. So what does blue indicate in all of these situations? For a start, blue has two meanings. Firstly, it is the usual giving of information, where blue appears and information is relayed either to us, the viewers, or to the characters within the film. As well as that, blue indicates authority. To the police, to wear underneath their black uniforms indicates that they are peacekeepers. Let's now move on to brown. Brown indicates some sort of impediment to progress. The first brown we see in detail is that of the suit of the accountant who is trying to prevent an escalation of the costs involved in maintaining the police forces on the roads. The night rider's coffin has, of course, also impeded his own progress, but it also has prevented the toe cutters gang from continuing on their escapades. Johnny the boy's lawyer is also dressed in brown, and here we have a huge impediment to progress in that no one appeared for the prosecution, and so Johnny the boy had to be let go. When Johnny the boy is released, he returns to the toe cutters gang, and the toe cutter himself is not happy about this at all and begins to teach Johnny a lesson. That lesson is quite a stark one, and he is wearing brown as he does so. This will prevent his frivolous and unthinking activities. When Sprog disappears from May's farm, all that is left is a brown blanket. There is an impediment to progress. Neither Jessie nor Max are able to simply take off because they first have to find Sprog. The box that Max goes to retrieve his uniform is also brown. It has impeded his progress as a policeman up until now simply because it has hidden the uniform, but now it opens up and allows Max to retrieve it. And finally, when Max catches up with Johnny the boy, Johnny is wearing a pair of brown trousers. Max handcuffs him to the crashed car and thereby impedes his progress as well. There is no way that Johnny the boy is going to escape this easily. The next colour we need to look at is white. Firstly, the carnage of the caravan being crashed indicates that white has some sort of significance. The car driver in front of the caravan calls out to Goose to see if he is still okay. Goose is wearing a white helmet as well, indicating that there is something important about to happen. First time we see Jessie and the first time that we see Sprog, they are both clothed in white. The bedding inside the assaulted couple's car, where they are sleeping when the toe cutters gang arrives in town, is also white. Johnny's shirt for the lesson that he receives from the toe cutter is white, and so is Johnny's surveillance. He follows the sabotaged bike that is going to spell Goose's doom. Jessie's ice cream splayed across the toe cutter's face is also a signal. And finally, Max's singlet while he's fixing the overheating car at May's farm is also white. So what does all this refer to? Well, each one of those appearances of white are incidental opportunities for a change in the plot's direction. When the car and caravan are crashed into by the police right at the beginning, there is an opportunity for the night rider to escape. When the car driver checks on Goose, there is an opportunity for Goose to be halted in his progress and need to change direction. He won't be riding again for a while. When we see Jessie and Sprog for the first time, their white indicates an opportunity for Max to change his direction as well. Will he continue to be a policeman or will he do something else? We don't know at this stage. The bedding inside the assaulted couple's car as white indicates there is an opportunity here for them to be involved in the drama, and that incidental opportunity turns out to be a fairly horrific one. Johnny's shirt for the toe cutter's lessons is an opportunity for Johnny the boy to become aware of his misdemeanors and how he can easily displease the toe cutter. Johnny's surveillance car is the opportunity that he takes in order to follow Goose to his doom, and Jessie's ice cream smashed into toe cutter's face is the opportunity she takes to escape from the gang. And Max's singlet in fixing the car is an opportunity for the toe cutter eventually to catch up with Jessie and May and Sprog because the car hasn't been repaired. Now we turn to grey. Every time it appears, there is some sort of unexpected action associated with its appearance. For a start, the mechanic showing off the new V8 that he has created for Max is an unexpected joy for Max. When the gang enter the township to retrieve the night rider's body, the town looks grey and old, neglected and very dusty. There is some unexpected action or activity simply by their arrival. The town's railway man is also clad in grey, and he is the one who unexpectedly is not just the local shopkeeper, but also the railway attendant. And so he is involved in interactions with the toe cutters gang that is unexpected for him on an ordinary day. Johnny's suit, when he is released from custody, is also grey. And here, not only is it unexpected that he is freed, but also the action that follows is an exchange of threats between Johnny the boy and Goose. Jessie's dungarees on meeting the toe cutter and what she does as a result of the opportunity afforded by the white ice cream splashed into his face is one way of demonstrating that here is unexpected action. She wasn't expected to defend herself quite so effectively, but she does manage to make her escape. Once the gang has been locked up in the shed by May, we can see that there is a grey door. Now, the grey door is then smashed down later on, so it also offers an unexpected action for the toe cutters gang to be freed and once again engage in pursuit. And when Jessie runs down the road to escape the toe cutter, she's running down a grey road. And the unexpected action here is her own demise will come shortly thereafter. One of the colours that we don't see very often is green. Now, green tends to indicate values, but it also in this film has a connotation of resilience. So the first thing we see is Goose wearing a green cap as he arrives for work on his own blue bike. He is resilient, and his values are that he will continue to work regardless of his physical incapacity. The railway building is also painted green, showing that here is where the railwayman's main value to the town exists. He is the person who is responsible for whatever comes and goes using that railway line. The police chief's plants that he is watering while Max hands him his resignation is also an indicator of values. The police chief values Max's input and does not accept that resignation. Instead, sends him off on a form of sabbatical in order to recover from the shock of Goose's death. After all, he is a valuable member of the team. The pillow that Max lies on while he and Jessie are planning their future while on that road trip is also green. Here we see Max daydreaming. The mechanic who fixes Max's broken tyre and also gives information to the toe cutter and his gang is also clad in green. Here the values that are demonstrated are a total inability to maintain any form of secrecy. This man simply gives information in order to keep himself out of trouble. His values are towards himself, not to the people who are his customers. Sprog's potty and little toy when he has been kidnapped by the toe cutters gang is also green. And here it indicates that while he is missing, he is nevertheless a valuable person within the family structure, and therefore Jessie will do almost anything to save him. As May threatens and locks up the toe cutters gang, she also has a green barrel behind her, indicating that her values are that she will fight to maintain the integrity of her visitors and at the same time is prepared to threaten even the most threatening people. The colours that appear in the least number of times within this film are also important indicators of certain activities. Pink is vulnerability and struggle. And here we have in the background a pink elephant hanging in the doorway. This blow-up toy is later on destroyed by one of Toe Cutter's gang, indicating what they will do to anyone who stands in their way. Jessie's T-shirt while on holiday and also while she's been accosted by the toe cutter is also pink. And here it shows that she is potentially in danger. It's not red, so therefore the danger is not imminent, but nevertheless the pink indicates her vulnerability and the opportunity that she has to get out of that danger. The flowers on May's pinafore also indicate a certain amount of vulnerability and struggle, because it is after this that we see that May, in fact, has calipers on her legs. She is incapable of free movement. Orange appears even less frequently than pink, but when it does appear, it is important. Here, the police chief's watering can shows that he has confidence that he is able to persuade Max to maintain his role as their prize driver. The orange is linked to the idea of confidence, linked with confidence with the orange car that Max drives as he's traveling on his road trip with his family. The metal structures around May's farm are also orange, but here instead of confidence, nevertheless, it shows that she is courageous. We see it again as the car drives away from May's farm, driven by Jessie, trying to get away from the toe cutters yet again. The toe cutter gang also shows a fair degree of courage and confidence as they manage to slow down the petrol truck and steal petrol from it while it is still moving. Now, an orange can indicates that, yes, they are successful, but also that what they are doing is potentially dangerous. Purple is the only colour that appears once in the film, and because it only appears once, it is virtually impossible to give it any form of analysis. Here it is as the outfit worn by the young person who gives Bubba information as to where to find Johnny the boy and what has happened since his arrest. And now we come to black. Black is important. Of course, it is a film that is associated with a dystopian future. It is the uniform of the police officers. It appears as part of the colours on their car, along with yellow and red. It also is the first indication that we have of seeing that there is someone important. This is Max walking around his vehicle. His interceptor car also has a fair degree of black associated with it, as is Goose's motorbike. The Knight Rider's shirt is black, as is his car, and between them they indicate a fair degree of power. When Max catches up with the Knight Rider's car, he rams it from behind, thereby reducing the power that the Knight Rider appeared to have. And we see this in the Knight Rider's sudden change of demeanour from high confidence down to being afraid. When Max is surveilling the gang members stealing petrol, he's driving his new all-black interceptor vehicle. He also is using it to chase the toe cutter very, very close. We see the full glory of Max's black interceptor car from the front as he drives away from his interaction with Johnny the Boy and leaves Johnny the Boy to his doom. Black is only incidental to the villain gang. The toe cutter and his cronies all wear greys and browns, which makes it absolutely certain that black has to do with the ultimate power, and that ultimate power resides in Mad Max himself. So what have we learnt from this film and its colour analysis? Well, we know that yellow is a warning, it's an alarm. It lets the viewer know that something amazing is about to happen. Red indicates an impending danger in which someone is likely to be killed or injured in some way. Blue gives both information to people, including us, the audience, but it also is an indicator of the authority to make the rules. Brown always impedes progress when it appears, whereas white is an incidental opportunity to allow some escape from a particular impending calamity. Grey is unexpected action, where we don't know what the outcome of a particular scene is going to be, but when the grey appears, we know it's going to be unusual. Green is both resilience and values, whereas pink has to do with vulnerability and the struggle for survival. Orange indicates courage and confidence, and purple, although it appears only once, doesn't have any real meaning. Finally, black is the ultimate power. Well, I hope you've enjoyed this quick look at Mad Max's colours, and you'll join me again in future for another one of these forays into a film. If you have a particular film whose colours you would like to have analysed, please leave a comment suggestion below, and I'll see what I can do for you. In the meantime, have a great day, an even better week, and I'll catch you next time. Bye.